It's playoff time, and it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. The app is really simple to use. Pick 2 or more players across any sport. Pick more or less on their projection, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money. Prize Picks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Join Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, available to play in more than 40-plus states, including California and Texas. Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code GOAL and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code GOAL on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Log Talk Radio.
You have to be quiet, Kim, and he'll come back to you.
Good evening, everyone, and this is me, Jonathan Alexander. I'm here to host my show, Life, Laughter, Happiness. Now, today my guest is someone very special. His name is, actually it's two. It's Kim and Fran Peek, and Kim Peek is the inspiration for the movie Rainman. Now, let's start off from the beginning. I mean, you can read books, is that it? You read books in like an hour?
Well, it depends on how big the book is. When he's reading a paperback book, he reads the left page with his left eye, right page with his right eye at the same time. 2 pages in 8 to 10 seconds with almost total recall 20 years later.
20 years later.
He reads a book that you and I would read a page in about 3 minutes in a book or a sheet of paper. He reads that in less than 30 seconds. But he uses both eyes when he reads a big page.
Uses both eyes. So, Kim, as I understand it, like if I gave you, the way I understood it is if I gave you like a zip code, you could tell me where that zip code is?
Yes.
Okay, so let me ask you, can I give you a zip code?
Yes.
Okay. How about 32550?
32550, it's in Pensacola, Florida area.
You got it. That's right.
And I'll tell you something, too, about that.
Okay.
Folks. Well, you know that I really like to work with people. Remember that when the guy was reading the zip codes?
Yes.
And I bet you one of your, I don't think they have a blog system, but it's nice to think about some people from upstate in Fort Oglethorpe, because when I was doing something there was a postal clerk who was observing zip codes, and I was in for this MRI thing.
Yeah.
And I always think of this guy's sister when I think of that trip.
Yeah, you're thinking Mary Ruth Haslam. Goldtooth. Kim, what's his area code in Atlanta?
There's a 40. The 646 is an internet section. A 404-770-478-678.
And what county does he live in?
There's Fulton, DeKalb, Gwinnett, Cobb, Fulton, DeKalb, Gwinnett, Cobb, and the area where Jonesboro is.
Okay, so if I gave you the area code 30087, what would you be able to tell me about that?
Downtown, it's suburban, northwest suburban area, north, central, and east.
Do you know what highway goes through it?
What is it?
I don't know. Maybe I thought you would know.
I know Roswell goes up to 23, and Smyrna also goes up to 23.
Okay. So let me give you another zip code. 45801.
Lima, Ohio.
You got it. That's right. Okay. Let's see here. Here's another one for you. let's see if you can tell me who is at this zip code. 99600.
Anchorage, Alaska.
Yep.
Anchorage, Alaska.
Ex-Governor Palin, huh?
I really like to think about, but if there's so many Tina Feys, they don't want. But if there's still a lot of Tina Feys around.
Okay.
They had that on last Sunday,
yeah.
didn't they, Dad?
They did, huh? Gonna talk to you some more, Kim.
Yes.
Okay, let me ask you this: when now I understand it is that he votes. You're a registered voter, Kim.
Yes, and it's down. We're down where we voted at a place. We voted our clubhouse.
Yeah, just a couple hundred feet from our house.
And we used to have holiday office parties there for a couple of years.
That's right.
And
Kim, when did the Republican Party start? Do you know that?
1854 in Ripon, Wisconsin. It got the name in Jackson, Michigan.
And what about the Democratic Party?
It was first called Democrats and Republicans.
When?
Then Andrew Jackson made it Democrat in 1828.
And when was he president?
1829, 1837.
Okay.
And do you think about you know what? You're also the home of, you Atlantans think about Carter and
Yes.
And the Martin Luther King Carter Center and the Martin Luther King Center. But
yes.
This is a great way to close your work day after waking up to a man who followed every speech, who followed Martin Luther King's dream.
Who was that?
You know, you told me not to do it.
Okay, no matches because you wouldn't understand that. But when was Martin Luther King killed?
April 4th, 1968, and
what day of the week was that?
Thursday in Memphis. But this man, how I refer to him, is first he was an actor. It was an actor named John Inman, a comic from the British comedies. Then it was him, and then it was his wife. All three men dying within a year of each other.
Oh,
all three people.
These were all LDS church people. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Matches. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get back to something else. Okay.
Yes.
Let me ask you this now. Okay, this is something else. Okay, August 29th, 1948. That's my mother's birthday, by the way.
It was a Sunday.
Oh, really?
It was the year of Charlie Trippy.
And who did he play for?
Cardinals.
Oh.
Remember, he went to Athens, and it was also the year. It was also when a young guy from Cairo broke the color barrier.
What was his name?
Jackie Robinson.
Oh, okay. And what's his mom's birthday this year?
Sunday, and this year she'll be 61 a week from Saturday. And she'll be 65 in 2013 on a Thursday.
And then she can retire, huh?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, okay? If I see, what else could I ask you? Do you mind if I ask you who you voted for?
I voted for almost every winner since 1972. Thank you.
Okay, so you voted for Obama, right?
Yes, Obama, but you know what?
What do you tell people about Obama?
The day before election day, we were down at talking to a vocational school in Phoenix.
That's right, you were. And they asked you if you ever voted, and you says yes, and they want to know who our president was going to be the next day. And what did you say?
Obama.
And what did you say he was going to do?
Make the White House black.
Make the White House into the black, yes. He's going the other way right now, but it'll take a few years to get that straightened out, won't it?
Yes.
What do you tell people to do about their president?
Support him more.
That's right. He's our president, and the majority elected him, so we have to support him even if you didn't get the guy you wanted, don't you?
Yes, love.
So let me ask you this, okay? In 1972, the year I was born, what movie won Best Picture?
Godfather the First.
Okay, cool.
Godfather the First. And also there was I also think about being those people down in Atlanta, because that was the year you folks first hosted the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Who won it?
In the old Fulton County Stadium.
You know who won it?
National won it 4-3 in 10 innings. Also, there was another occasion.
How about the Super Bowl that year?
It was when Dallas beat Miami 24-3, and then the Dolphins won 17 in a row.
Wow.
You folks have had. He was with the Rams, the Eagles. Then he coached the Vikings, and then the Falcons.
And who's he?
Now,
Dutchman.
The Dutchman.
he knows all the presidents in order, right?
Yes, I do.
Can you tell us who?
Washington, John Adams, Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, John Quincy Adams, Jackson Van Buren, William Henry Harrison, Tyler Polk, Taylor, Fillmore, Pierce, Buchanan, Lincoln, Andrew Johnson, Grant, Hayes, Garfield, Arthur, Cleveland, Benjamin Harrison, Cleveland again, McKinley, Theodore Roosevelt, Taft, Wilson, Harding, Coolidge, Hoover, Franklin Roosevelt, Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Lyndon Johnson, Nixon, Ford, Carter, Reagan, Bush the elder, Clinton, Bush the younger, Obama.
Wow.
I really think about everything I look at.
Yeah, you do.
Let me ask you this. I've always got under the impression that you remembered everything that ever happened to you. I mean, is it you just remember everything you read, or is it like if I asked you about a day in your life, would you be able to tell me what happened on that day? Or
I've been.
Let him tell you a day, Kim. See if you can tell him what happened.
Okay, like for instance, May 28th, 1972.
It was a Sunday, and it was Memorial Day weekend. The first man to crack 160 miles was Mark Donahue, and he won that day. And then and I really like to think about it being Memorial Day weekend. You're really a fine man, too.
I'm a fine man?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you. It's nice of you to say.
Yes. You know what I do every night when we get back from dinner?
What?
I check out where some of the possible matches might be.
Yeah, but that's very, very complicated subject area that you have, Kim, and it involves all the high officials in the Mormon Church. He knows them all, and he matches them with people who have similar characteristics, either in physical or how they talk or things like that, as people who are on the British comedies. And so he gives them a match name.
Yes.
he talks to his mother and to me about matches, and there's a lot of that goes on in Salt Lake because of the headquarters of the Mormon Church here. And although he's not a member of any church, he's just a child of God.
I see.
When I first,
and he knows the Bible. If you need anything to ask him about that,
you know, you down here and you folks down in Atlanta are really important to us because you hosted the Olympics in '96. You've hosted. Remember the year when you folks everything was dark above the ground, everything was light below the ground, and then when they finally got the lighting together, it was the following weekend, the Super Bowl. That was during the Super Bowl.
What year?
It's playoff time, and it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. The app is really simple to use. Pick 2 or more players across any sport. Pick more or less on their projection, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money. Prize Picks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Join Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, available to play in more than 40-plus states, including California and Texas. Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code GOAL and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code GOAL on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details. It's playoff time, and it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. The app is really simple to use. Pick 2 or more players across any sport. Pick more or less on their projection, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money. Prize Picks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Join Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, available to play in more than 40-plus states, including California and Texas. Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code GOAL and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code GOAL on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
When you hosted that one, it's been about 10 or so years, hasn't, since that one? It was when they had it in the dome.
Yes.
You know, that was
Do you remember who played?
I think that was the year of Carolina and Jacksonville.
Now.
And I remember when you folks are really important to have there. I've been to Emory with and every time, sometimes he brings her down, sometimes we're on our own.
Oh, you mean Dr. Christensen? Sometimes his wife comes with us when we talk to pharmaceutical groups, and also we talk to the graduating medical people.
And for every
Dan, there's only one Jan, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's see what Jonathan wants to ask you about something else.
Now, let me ask you this. Now, in the movie Rainman, this is something that I wanted to ask you about, because you said on the phone that you traveled a lot. You traveled a lot?
But every time we fly into the Cincinnati airport, I always go to the Qantas.
You go to the Qantas ticket desk, don't you? What do you tell them?
To congratulate them on their success, and here they only fly in Australia.
Yeah, they congratulate them on their safety record in the United States because they don't fly here. That was in the movie. That was in the Rainman movie. Although Dustin didn't like to fly, Kim did, and
that's what I've often wondered about. Like, for instance, the similarities. Like, for instance, what extent is, because when I told people that I was interviewing someone who is the inspiration for the movie Rainman, people kept asking me questions like, "Oh, does he get his underwear at Kmart? Does he?"
A lot of that was an ad lib that Dustin put into the script. There was a lot of ad libbing in the script by both.
When Rainman first started, I was working in a sheltered workshop.
That's right. You kept a payroll for 158 people.
And when the afternoon break came, they said, "It's 11. It's 11 minutes to 2.
And what did you have to go take your break for?
Judge Wapner.
Yeah, Judge Wapner. That was you and Dustin,
Yes.
So that the whole Judge Wapner thing, the People's Court thing, that is really him. He really does like that.
Yes, and
yeah.
Now we're usually at dinner when Jeopardy comes on, and we had one of the champions lived really close to us.
Yeah, the guy who won over $1 million last couple of years ago. Yeah. We tried to get him to go at the Rotary Club in Salt Lake City with Kim on one end of the table and him on the other, but he wouldn't do it unless he could have a bell to ring so he could get to answer the question first. Kim doesn't have the physical coordination to ring a bell, so he wouldn't debate with him.
And there's this family. They're all disabled and autistic.
Yeah, people have 9 children. 4 of them have autism. 5 of them have Asperger's. They live next door to your brother.
Yes.
That's very unusual, Kim.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brian and Elizabeth.
And that's interesting. I mean, when you don't have autism, you have something else, right?
It's called genesis of the corpus callosum.
That means absence of the corpus callosum, that part of the brain that connects the left and right hemispheres and helps to decide on what you're going to save and what you're going to send where and what you're going to throw out. You and I save about 45% of the stuff that goes into our main brain, which is the cerebellum. Kim saves 98.7, so he has 98.7 memory, and you and I have 45%.
In other words,
and we're working with NASA is really, really important too with the MRI.
Yeah, this is the 4th year NASA's been involved with him, and basically most of the information they're getting from studying his brain they have to put into a 5th dimension folder because we don't have the technology in the 3rd dimension we live in to find out what it's doing. So it's opening up some real wide open spaces in the study of the brain and Alzheimer's and dementia that we had no idea about 2 years ago.
And when I went on.
It's playoff time, and it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. The app is really simple to use. Pick 2 or more players across any sport. Pick more or less on their projection, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money. Prize Picks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Join Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, available to play in more than 40-plus states, including California and Texas. Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code GOAL and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code GOAL on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
One of these assignments with them, I was saying, well, it's time we go. It's time we go. I have a interview with a psychiatrist at this one campus in just a few minutes, and we gotta check out of here. What's this? What's all this going on out there? Where's the limo?
Oh yeah, that's when we were in L.A. going down to the three universities on the West Coast that interviewed you and took pictures and did cognitive tests for the Channel 5 out of London, England, that did the documentary that's on the Discovery Channel right now.
Now,
but they can't do what happened because of.
Well, your brain isn't like anybody else that they'd ever
run into. But they can't do what
Yeah.
happened then. Is because they were the Where's the Limo and.
Okay, that's when they were filming Rosemary Clooney's boy. What was his name?
George Clooney.
George Clooney was down there with you, and he just finished the story about Edward R. Murrow.
Yes, and that's how I got the. That's why every time I see him in a show, I keep saying, "Change your suit."
Yeah, because that's a match with one of the Mormon leaders. He changed his suit when he became a leader, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So you've actually met George Clooney?
Well, he just said hello to him while he's walking across the street they were filming Clooney, and they had to move our limousine because it was in the way, so we were standing out wondering where the limousine went when Clooney and the TV people came across.
And matches and visits, and also there's some other things too. I really like to get along with Brian and Elizabeth and Allie and Mom and Gordon and all,
Right.
and everyone I think about. And I'm going to see them all tomorrow.
That's right, at the birthday party. You'll see them all tomorrow night.
And what's neat is that you said, I don't know if I mentioned this, I think I may have mentioned this for the show, that you met Gerald Ford.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
and what did you tell President Ford? You told him before you let him go.
It was, you think your boss is a crook, but more people remembered more people remember her because think about your wife Betty, who wasn't with him because she was recovering from that mastectomy.
And he said the only problem that you're not the most important person in our country, President Ford, is because your wife Betty has helped so many people who have cancer. You'll never be able to help that many in your lifetime.
Yes, and also there was a time when there were some people that I knew, about that time, and my dad was was then called the Association for Retarded Citizens. It wasn't called the ARC yet.
No.
And there was this woman who worked with him and her husband, and I keep telling about this. Don't you know that Harmon is the hair and Timpson is the voice, and you look, and this is Siegfried and Jensen calling.
Okay, now that's another match, Kim, and we can't talk about those. They're too hard to explain, okay?
Yes.
All righty. Talk about what Jonathan wants you to talk about.
Let me ask you this. No, it's okay. We can talk about the matches. Why are they too hard to explain?
Because most people don't even think about what this was, was that we have a law firm in Salt Lake called Siegfried and Jensen.
And they rent the back page of the telephone directory in Salt Lake, and he has a friend who lives in an apartment house who is a member of the Mormon Church, his company rented the back page of the telephone directory in Norwich, England, when he was over at Oxford, when Kim went over to Oxford. Kim, what I want you to tell him is you have a special message that you tell everybody. What is it?
Learning to recognize and respect differences in others and treat them as much as they want them to treat you will make this a better world to live in, and you don't have to be handicapped to be different. Everybody's different.
Right.
Now,
you know that I go around sometimes with there's this college professor and his son. In about a couple more months, we're going to see them.
Oh, you mean down in California?
Yes.
Livermore.
does he keep track of things like, for example, Napoleon? Would he know Napoleon's birthday, or?
Well,
you have a funny one, Kim. What would happen if a French terrorist? Wait a minute, Kim. You have to listen, Kim.
I was talking to a school.
Okay.
We were just starting to get involved in Iraq.
Yeah, and the French president took all the troops out, didn't he? All the French troops. And what did that congressman want to do?
Change the French fries to freedom fries.
Yeah, change French fries. So what you said to the kids in the school, you said, you know what would happen if a French terrorist threw a hand grenade into your kitchen?
Your linoleum's blown apart.
Kind of funny.
But does he know, like, for example, Napoleon's birthday?
Yeah.
August 15th, 1769, May 5th, 1821. And do you know that there was some people around there? Do you know that we've heard of Vittoria and Borodino, two of the battles of that era, being set to music?
Now, what was the Borodino set to music? What was that? Okay, what is that? By whom?
Tchaikovsky, and he wrote it in 1880 for the dedication of the Chapel of Christ the Redeemer.
Where is that located?
It was on the grounds of the Kremlin in Moscow.
Oh.
And the other one was da 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 da. That's Wellington at Victoria.
And when did he write that?
It was 1813. It was Beethoven, and it was the same. And I can't say Beethoven in a church or an elementary
or on this radio station. Okay.
What it was I was 6 years old.
You were 6 years old, yes. And they wanted to give you a lobotomy, didn't they?
Yes.
And we wouldn't let them do it. But the man who wanted to do it happened to be Ingrid Bergman's husband, Dr. Peter Lindstrom.
Yes.
And then you can't say the word in a elementary school or a
church
because it's the first name of the first volume of the John Jakes Bicentennial series. So don't say the word, okay, Kim?
Good in the man.
He can look it up if he wants to. Okay.
Let me ask you this. Now, you mentioned something on the phone, like about the Gettysburg Address.
227 Northwest Front Street. But he only stayed there overnight. He gave the talk the next day.
That's how it's literal.
And you know, this lady has often cared for some Vietnamese kids, and I think about if you go around in an old Model T and it says, "We sell hardwood floors."
That was my father's business, and during the Depression, and he drove a Model T Ford, and his license, his phone number was Wasatch 2169, and that's the same number that this professor has up at the university in Logan, right?
Yes, like 22169.
Kind of like a match.
Yes, sir.
So when this is interesting. If anybody wants to call in, the number is 646-716-8659. There's several lines that you can call in.
It's a cellular unit, CU.
Now,
It's playoff time, and it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. The app is really simple to use. Pick 2 or more players across any sport. Pick more or less on their projection, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money. Prize Picks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Join Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, available to play in more than 40-plus states, including California and Texas. Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code GOAL and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code GOAL on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Let me ask you this. Now, I've heard somewhere there was, and let me see if you know the answer to this, because I don't know the answer to this, that there was a city or something that was upset because their area code was 666.
No, that wasn't it. It was the road from Monticello to Cortez to Gallup, and they found out it was a millennial warning, and so they changed it to the road to 491.
And what did the 666, what did they say that stood for?
Stood for the apocalyptic code.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You know, do you know that when one of the films I noticed, I think it was on this week or next week, every time I think about the Da Vinci Code because the girl went to school with my brother.
Oh, you mean when she was a born-again Christian and asked you what you thought of the Da Vinci Code?
Yes.
And you said to her, she was upset because people had been saying that Jesus was standing next to Mary.
Yes.
In the painting of the Last Supper. And she asked you what you thought about that picture.
Yes.
And you said, when did Da Vinci paint it?
1496.
Yeah, he said he painted it almost 1,500 years after they had supper. And he says, and I don't know who gave him the Polaroid picture to paint it from.
And
that ended that, didn't it, Kim?
Yes, I always think about, although we haven't heard much from them since Nancy died.
That's right.
Heard,
we will.
And I really, it's because every time I think about this cognitive testing that they had on those MRIs.
Yeah, cognitive testing. They can't teach you. They can't test you on that because your brain doesn't do that.
And I said, there's fun, family, love, excitement, happiness.
Tooth.
Goldtooth.
Goldtooth was Mary Ruth's name that you called her because she was your godmother, right?
Yes.
She's gone now.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, let me ask you this. What day was Obama born?
What? He just turned 48 about a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
And I really think Hawaii in Honolulu. Hawaii was where he was born, in Honolulu.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Obama was born
Obama, yeah.
on Honolulu.
That's what they said.
The youngest president we've ever had.
The youngest one was Theodore Roosevelt in 1901, 1909.
And who was the oldest?
The oldest was Ronald Reagan, 1981, 1989. And I always keep thinking about them too, because do you know that he's the only president, that Ronald Reagan is the only president we honor here except for Washington and Garfield and counties and those places. He's the only president we honor with a special hotel suite.
Where's that?
It's in Kanab in Perry Lodge.
Oh yeah, they make a lot of movies. Reagan was in down in Kanab, which is a southern city in Utah, which is in the Red Arch country and stuff, and they do a lot of movie making down there. Used to do a lot of westerns down there.
Yes.
Okay.
And the folks.
Well, let him ask you something else, Ken.
So let me ask you this: like, what do you know about the like? Say, if I gave you a president, would you be able to tell me something about him, or?
Yes.
Like Warren Harding.
He died just as the scandals broke in the same hotel where the Tesoro, Rio Tinto also lived in that same hotel for a while.
Where was the hotel and what was it called?
Mark Hopkins in San Francisco.
Is that where he died?
Yes, and that's what I was thinking about and then all the scandals broke up. And
what were the scandals about?
Like the Teapot Dome, where that happened. Have you ever been to a school in which all three elements of which the elementary, junior high, and high school are all under one roof?
Oh, that was someplace in Wyoming, wasn't it?
Yes, it was out in that area where Teapot Dome was. The town was called Midwest. Remember that?
What happened in the Teapot Dome?
The oil men lost a lot of money because they thought it was a fraudulent lease.
Oh, okay.
And for you, it's time that I really like to tell you some more things about me.
Okay, he will.
Well, how would you think about this from Rainman? Well, you live in a triplex right across a little court.
Mm-hmm.
There's a neighbor. There's a neighbor of yours who's a grocer.
Okay.
Yeah, and he had a special kind of a car. What was it?
1948 Buick Roadmaster.
And when NASA met you in San Francisco in 2005, what did they drive you down to Salinas Hospital in?
1948 Buick Roadmaster.
The original one from Rainman. How about that? That's a big thing with you, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Now let Jonathan talk to you again.
Okay, let me ask you this: does he drive?
Oh.
No, I'm not an excellent driver, but I'm going to tell you about all the things I think about.
Okay.
I'll give you some important birth dates. Next,
Okay.
October 21st, 1825, December 18th, 1826, July 16th, July 17th, 1872, August 8th, 1937.
Okay, all the people whose birthdays are that have either their first or their last name is Dustin. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Interesting. So the first and the last names are Dustin.
Yes.
Okay.
Let Jonathan get you back on track.
The reason one of the shows on TV tonight is, I think it's on TBS. It's called, or TNT. It's called it's about the horse Seabiscuit.
Oh yeah.
And every time, wait a minute, as we get ready for the big race tomorrow, this is going to be a really exciting day. Now stay tuned for Amos and Andy.
Did they come on after?
Yeah, at 7, because this couple lived in a yellow barn-like home. A house that looks like a yellow-colored barn.
Oh, you mean on 9th South?
Yes.
Okay, in Salt Lake. Okay, now, when did Seabiscuit win the Triple Crown?
Never won the Triple Crown.
When did he win the Kentucky Derby?
Didn't win the Kentucky Derby, but he beat War Admiral in a match race in Pimlico on November 2nd, 1938. Thank you.
Okay.
And what when I refer to things that about my mom and her family and all that stuff, I always think about their pioneer heritage and all that stuff.
Yeah, they were pioneers that walked across the plains because they were converts to the Mormon Church, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think about, do you know that my sister and my niece, whose daughter's birthday we're having tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
they were in England on the day Diana was killed in Paris.
And what date was that?
On August 30th, 1997.
Yeah.
I remember that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what really I always think about how there was this woman, who was in my workshop.
Mm-hmm.
Was the counselor. They owned a series of they weren't fast food. They were almost like a fast food restaurant. There were about 3 of them in the valley, and about 3 or 4 of them in the valley, and when one of them had been was one of the counselors at Columbus.
That was your workshop.
And when every time I refer to our grandchildren, Stacy and Melanie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this woman came in and told you when you had a niece, right?
Yes.
And then she was the same one who came and told you when the next one was born, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Now let's get back to something that other people can understand, okay?
Yes.
Let me answer this. Would you know, little things, for example, which president had the biggest feet?
I don't know who the biggest feet. We have our little great grandson, who we might meet for the first time tomorrow, has really big feet.
Mm-hmm. What does your Uncle Brian call him?
Bigfoot. His name is Dylan.
Yeah, but what did he call him? Not Bigfoot.
Sasquatch.
Sasquatch, yes.
Do you, let me ask you this, does he ever watch, does he have a pet? Do you have a pet, Kim?
I haven't had one for almost 25 years.
We travel about 22 days a month, so we really can't have a pet.
And also, when we had this
one,
what we used to have when I was just a little kid, we had this rabbit, and in order to get him alfalfa, we had to drive out to Delta Airlines.
Well, Delta Airlines is there now. They have a couple of runways out there, but that's where you used to gather alfalfa for your bunny named Reggie, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, when you met the first time you met Dustin Hoffman, was he nervous?
He wasn't very nervous. We met for 6.5 hours.
What did you say to him when he says, "Hi, Kim, look in my eyes and tell me I can be your friend forever"? And what did you say?
From this moment on, we shall be as one.
Oh, that's what he said. Yeah, that's what you said to him. That's right. And at the end of the session with him in Hollywood, what did he say to you when he put his hands on your shoulders and looked in your eyes, and what did he say to you?
I may be the star, but you're the heavens.
Yeah, and then we didn't ever see him again. We talked to him a few times.
And there was this one time, every time I think about the Pelican Brief or Aaron Brockovich or anything with this star in it, I think of, you can't get in there.
We went down to see Dustin in Crescent City. No, not Crescent City. Culver City, and he was filming Hook, and it was the whole theater, the whole place where they were making the show Hook was under. Spielberg had closed everything up because Julia Roberts had gotten angry, and she left and went to England for 2 weeks. And he just about canceled the show. We had an appointment with Dustin, and we could see him through the two-way glass in the security room, but they wouldn't let us talk to him because no one could talk to anybody. And so we waited a couple hours, and then we left. But that was the closest you've come to Dustin since
Rainman.
Except in 2005, he did a tape for you at Chicago when you got the Christopher Reeve Award.
Oprah.
It's playoff time, and it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. The app is really simple to use. Pick 2 or more players across any sport. Pick more or less on their projection, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money. Prize Picks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Join Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, available to play in more than 40-plus states, including California and Texas. Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code GOAL and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code GOAL on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details. It's playoff time, and it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. The app is really simple to use. Pick 2 or more players across any sport. Pick more or less on their projection, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money. Prize Picks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Join Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, available to play in more than 40-plus states, including California and Texas. Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code GOAL and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code GOAL on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
No Maury Povich, no Jenny Jones, no Geraldo, no Jerry Springer, almost.
Rosie O'Donnell, yeah. We had all of those people call to see if he could come on their show and count cards and gamble, and I told him that we couldn't do that, and if they wanted to get their show so he could be on their show, they'd really have to close their contract out and give the time to something that would do more good to people.
What
they didn't like that.
I don't know whether it was when we went down to San Luis Obispo or if it was Terry's funeral. We were driving back on one of our California trips, and there was this.
We went into Caesar's Palace to have lunch, right?
Yes.
And that was when the PR lady who was with Rosie O'Donnell came down and talked to you while you were having a sandwich and said she wanted to bring her boss down to meet you. And we waited a little while, 45 minutes, and they didn't come down, so we left. And then she just wanted you to have lunch with Rosie, and so he didn't ever get to, right?
Yes, and then there was this. One of the best things I used to think about was when I always watched the 770s or the low 770s or 780s. Now, because I'm trying to find something that says Cleveland on it.
Mm-hmm. I find a baseball. The Cleveland Indians took you to their game a couple of weeks ago, didn't they, in Cleveland?
And I really like to be with Jack and Marsha.
Yeah. And what did you do for the Chicago White Sox a couple of years ago?
Threw out their first pitch.
That's right, you did.
And the biggest thing I was thinking about then was when I went up with these people, and I went to, he said, I want a notary to help pay this judge who was a Rotarian.
Well, what it was is the head of the Rotary Club up for Ohio. The Rotary clubs in Ohio had raised $1 million for the United Way of Ohio, and they wanted you to come down and witness the judge signing the check. And that's what you did. You went down with the president, and you signed the check after he did. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
And what city were you in?
It was in Kirtland Township, just down the road.
That's right, it was.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you this. You said that you almost went on Oprah, but you turned it down because they wanted them to come on and count cards?
No, we've never been. Well, we were called by Oprah about 15 years ago when she was first getting her programs going, but we had a conflict of time problems with her, and we could never get back with her. She's probably one that I think he would do very well on, but the rest of them were too much on the slutty side, I felt, and didn't want to be involved with those. But we talked to 5 or 6 of them, and they wanted to see how they could set up their program for that day so that he would be okay on it.
Maybe he would have a moral problem with counting cards or something, you know.
Oh, he would count cards, but he wouldn't play poker. And he only counted cards because that's what they built that part of the script in Rainman about.
I'm just wondering, like, some people may think, oh, well, you know, maybe he should play poker with Andy Duke and see what happens, you know.
Yeah, but he won't.
But what had happened?
He won't gamble, but he can count 3 decks of cards. Just a minute, Kim. He can count 3 decks of cards passed out in 10 hands, and then he gets 2 minutes with each person after the hands are straightened out. And then, just a minute, Kim.
They gave me a taro.
Yeah, just a second.
They gave me a tarot.
Yeah.
Remember, and this guy, you know, that my dad had worked with him for about.
You mean Paul Hasegawa? Yes, he was in the Japanese concentration camp during World War II, but he was my artist in my ad agency. And then he showed Kim this trick because he was also a magician. And after Kim got to spend about 2 minutes behind the 10 different people holding the hands, then they called 7 cards, and each person had to put those 7 cards that they had right side up. Sometimes they'd have 2 or 3 of the same number because there were 3 decks. And then he stepped back, and then he went up to number 1, and he told them what cards they had left in their hand, went all down through all 10 people and got every one of the cards right that they had left in their hands.
And one of the biggest...
From that, they built the card playing and then turned the major part of it over to Tom Cruise, which he did a super job.
And the biggest thing I was thinking about, you know, the toothpicks were matches.
Yeah. They rewrote them as toothpicks in the movie, but in the first script they were matches.
Yes.
Can we do that though? Like, can you look at a bunch of matches and tell me like how many are there, or is that something?
What it was we were in Reno for an art conference.
Yeah, and Barry Morrow, who wrote Rain Man, was with us. And we had dinner together, and Barry says, we want to make this a special dinner, so he picks this great big candle, candle holder off the side of the table, and it was probably 12, 15 inches in diameter. And he said, I want to light this candle. And I said, well, it's probably part of the back of the atmosphere of this place. Barry, it might catch on fire. And he says, I'll get it. He said, I'll get it fixed. So he says to the waitress, can you bring me a book of matches? And she came back in about a minute, and she said, I couldn't find a book of matches, but I've got a box of stick matches. Would that work? And he says, that'll be fine. And so he goes to, notices it was sealed on the end, so he went and opened up the end of the matches, not realizing it had already been opened on the other end. And when he went to pull it out, it flipped up in the air, and almost all the matches went down on Kim and on the table and on the floor. And Kim looks up at Barry, and he says, you really made a mess with 246 matches. And Barry says, how did he do that? And I says, I don't know. He's never done that before. And Barry says to Kim, how do you know there are 246 matches on the floor? And Kim says, well, why don't you look on the box? It says 250, and there are only 4 left inside.
Oh, so he didn't count them.
No, he didn't count them. He just gave him a literal answer.
I got you. That makes sense. I mean, so it's not like he can look at a bunch of matches and know how much that he just sort of said. He just sort of gave the. I got you.
Yeah, that's what he said. And so they put it into the movie as with toothpicks, because and the other thing in the movie there was when he would look at the waitress's badge at breakfast and be able to tell her phone number. When we go to small towns in Utah or Idaho and they have a little telephone book that might only have 20 pages in it, and he used to sit down and memorize those in a few minutes. And then the next morning when we go to a restaurant, he would recognize the name if it was on the waitress's badge, and then he could tell them their phone numbers.
Well, I still remember, but I'm having real difficulty doing this now, and I know that we'd have to talk to Dex about it.
Yeah, I know. We're going to try to find you a telephone book from up in Washington, because they don't have telephone books in the libraries anymore.
No, they still do in the West.
Yeah. In one time when you were about 10 years old, you had 6,400 telephone books in our house.
And I remember I still remember being with. There were some friends of my mom's there were some friends of my mom's a long time ago, and this lady's 102 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. This is a truly big, because we saw her at Christmas usually. This is a truly big event. The guy was released about a year ago. You're the oldest member of this choir, and you have got to pay the rent to the neighbor.
Well, she'll be 103 in October, and she's the oldest member of the Tabernacle Choir.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Okay.
Misses it.
So turn it back to Jonathan for a minute.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this now. But you never watch like the Miss America pageant or anything like that?
I knew. Tesoro. Wait a minute. The name's the same, but it isn't the right woman.
Okay, tell us what you're talking about.
It's playoff time, and it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. The app is really simple to use. Pick 2 or more players across any sport. Pick more or less on their projection, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money. Prize Picks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Join Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, available to play in more than 40-plus states, including California and Texas. Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code GOAL and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code GOAL on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
We stopped at I was waiting once for a bus ride, and I went inside this. I sat in in the storeroom area.
At the gas station where the bus stop was.
Yes.
And the gas station was franchised by a guy named Mel Hutchins, and the Mel Hutchins had married a girl that I went to the university with who was Miss America. And her name was Hutchins. Colleen Hutchins Vandaway. That's right, Vandaway. She married that Vandaway guy.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's the only Miss America I think you've ever met, isn't it?
Well,
we had Miss Oregon took you through 11 schools in
Portland,
Oregon, about 3 years ago, and introduced you to the kids each time.
And then there was this. There was a time, remember, when we've always worked together, and especially when I think about my mom and Gordon were for several years. My grandma and his mom they lived together in a fourplex.
Mhm.
Yeah, they did. Okay.
But I mean, does he have the kind of memory where if he meets someone, that he meets them, like say a few years later, that he'll know that person?
No, he's met so many people. He has to have met you, been with you a little while, and he usually recognizes people by their voice more often than he recognizes them by their physical characteristics or by their name.
What would happen was I used to have sitter guardians long time ago when I was just a young kid, because my mom was taking college lessons and my dad was working for the advertising agency, and this sitter guardian that I had was her. How would you like to be married to someone who looks exactly like your uncle?
Well, his name was Smith, and he looked like one of the presidents of the Mormon Church. And they both looked like the guy on the Smith Brothers cough drop box. They both had those long, straggy black beards, and they both looked just like each other, like twins, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah, and she was the wife of him, and she was one of your babysitters.
Yes. And what?
They had a lot of Reader's Digest books in their houses, and you memorized all those and all kinds of things. Everything you already memorized.
And my dad had an account worked on some of his advertising accounts with this printer in his local, with one of the local printing companies.
Yeah, he had a cabin up in the mountains that he had built, and we used to go up 3 or 4 times on summer weekends, and he had a library by his fireplace where you could sit and read all of his library books. A lot of them were Reader's Digest condensed books and old books about the West, weren't they? And you did all that because Allie and Brian, my other 2 children, and I, we could go up in the Jeep and score the mountains and stuff, but Kim is not physically capable of walking up steps or things like that very well. He does better now, but he's still quite disabled as far as his physical coordination is concerned. Mentally, he's the other way. But so we used to go on a lot of little camps. We bought a Volkswagen Campmobile so we could go out on Saturday mornings, and we camp over Saturday night together, and then the next morning study nature and where we've been, and Kim would be able to describe everything we found on the ground.
My dad always worked for certain organizations they wanted to try and help me because of it.
Well, we tried to organize many things that would help people with disabilities, because when you were born, they didn't know even what mental retardation was, Kim.
And what had happened was I was driving. Once we'd go to this one place, we'd stop for a drink or some lunch or a drink on the way up, and the bus got so hot that the ice melted.
Yeah, in your drink in about 10 minutes, didn't it? We used to take you to Easter Seal camps, summer camps for the Easter Seal Society up in Grand Junction, Colorado, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
We work for lots of parent organizations and various kinds of disabilities, and we're very active right now in that too, particularly in those that affect the brain or the corpus callosum or Asperger's or Alzheimer's, autism. We're on boards and all that kind of stuff. Go to a lot of their conferences.
well, we've been doing this for about an hour, but it's been great to have you both on.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'll think about you.
All right. Well, thank you. It's been great to have you both on, Kim and Fran.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Johnson. It's been very nice. Thank you.
It's playoff time, and it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. The app is really simple to use. Pick 2 or more players across any sport. Pick more or less on their projection, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money. Prize Picks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Join Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, available to play in more than 40-plus states, including California and Texas. Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code GOAL and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code GOAL on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
What you're hearing is Hardie Fiber Cement Siding living up to its reputation as the siding that helps resist weather damage, no matter what Mother Nature throws its way. James Hardie knows how important a reputation is, especially when you're a home builder. That's why Hardie products withstand the elements better than wood-based siding, with styles to match their strength. Because when home builders work with us, we deliver our best so they can look their best. Protect your reputation with exterior products by James Hardie.